The concept I will be discussing today is heteronormativity and its prevalence in and effect on popular culture. Heteronormativity is the assumption that people fall into two distinct yet complementary genders, females and males. The idea of heteronormativity is born from the concept of gender binary. That is the acknowledgement of the existence of only females and males and nothing else, and supports the notion that heterosexual orientation and heterosexual relationships are the only acceptable sexual preference. Along with this, the concept of heteronormativity also imposes some pretty rigid gender roles and expectations in the way that men and women should act. For example, females should be submissive and feminine, and men should be dominating and masculine. These differences in the two genders then work together to produce the ideal romantic and sexual relationship that supposedly everyone in the world wants. Something that looks a little bit like this. Heteronormativity plays a hugely important role in the lives of people from all sexual orientations. Without even realizing it, our society has become accustomed to romance existing only between a man and a woman. Heterosexuality and heterosexual relationships are what's normal or expected in Western cultures, and can be accountable for explaining a lot about the way that females and males interact with each other. For example, the idea that a woman shouldn't go up to a man and ask him out, instead should wait for him to ask her out. Furthermore, John Fiske in the Week 4 reading identifies heteronormativity as a socially produced normality born from a mutual understanding within a framework of male dominance and female submissiveness. With heteronormativity having such a big influence in society, it is unsurprising that it is extremely prevalent in popular culture, most of the time without even meaning to. It is just this way of thinking is so ingrained in our way of life. Films, TV shows, books, and advertising all typically portray an overwhelming majority of heterosexual relationships. Furthermore, when homosexual couples are depicted in popular culture, they are usually tied down by restrictive stereotypes, such as the flamboyant feminine gay character or the butch masculine lesbian character. By portraying them in this way, we're still seeing them through this heteronormative lens, where they must fit into these rigid gender roles and expectations and behaviours that come with it. An example of heteronormativity in popular culture can be seen in the latest installment of the Harry Potter franchise, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I chose this example as when the screenplay was released mid last year, many members of the LGBT community and wider communities had issues with the heteronormative ideology that was seen throughout the screenplay. Throughout a vast majority of the screenplay, there seemed to be a homosexual relationship or the beginnings of what could be a homosexual relationship between the two characters, Albus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy. However, right near the end of the play, the writers chose to redirect this storyline and have Albus start a relationship with a female named Rose. This particular example of heteronormativity in popular culture is different to any other ones, as usually in popular culture, heteronormativity is seen as just blatantly having a heteronormative relationship without even considering there being a homosexual one, or having homosexual characters that fit into this heterosexual stereotypes or heterosexual gender roles. However, the issue that people had with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child was that there was definitely the possibility for there to be the first homosexual relationship in the Harry Potter franchise, but they decided to get rid of it. They decided to stop it from happening. In a letter published in the Huffington Post addressed to J.K. Rowling, President of the University of Virginia's Queer Student Union, Jack Chillman, voices his concern with the heteronormative ideology present in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. He writes, I don't want it to hurt. I would love to laugh off my expectation of a gay romance, to sweep it aside as the pining of a young gay man for representation he doesn't need. But I can't, and it does hurt, because the relationship you crafted between Albus and Scorpius does more than ignore an opportunity for LGBTQ representation. You wrote a gay romance. You pulled us along by the power of that romance, and then you told us it was unacceptable. The more than friendly magnetism between the boys felt real. The strictly straight conversation at the end felt false, contrived, but the script sides with the straight, and in doing so, it tells us that there are ways things are done in this world, that whether you buy into it or not, heterosexuality is what's normal and natural and inevitable.